Good morning, everyone. I've taken my jacket off so Russell can't pigeonhole me. And you got most of the intro right. I'm actually from South Otago, nearer to Balclutha than Clinton, but otherwise pretty right. Here, our Small and Medium Enterprise Committee, it's been going for 2 years. It's got a fairly modest budget, about 0.5% of the total levy income. You could compare that to the 20% of levy income that small growers contribute, but that wouldn't be fair. I'm the first to acknowledge that small growers get a lot of return from all the other spending of all the other committees. Now, as I say, it's been going for 2 years, and the idea of this committee was apparent to many, but in particular to Steve Wilton, who was one of the first to push this idea, and it was also taken up by Dean Satchell and others in the Farm Forestry Association to get this going, and to have a committee that focuses on issues specific to small and medium-sized growers. So the idea of the committee is to develop better connections with and communications with the other committees, and we do this through reports from Venice and Glenn, who service our SME committee, and also we've got Angus Gordon, who's on the research committee, and Don Wallace, who's on the safety and environment committee. So we have good feedback from all those other committees, and we can send them messages as well from the small growers. And we also have representatives from MPI and Scion on this committee, which is very important to have those relationships. And one of the things we've been involved with is providing advice to MPI on the cost of timber issue, which has been one that's been around for a long time. I think Steve Wilton's very familiar with it. This provision in the tax regulations, which disqualifies forest sellers can't use the tax advantage of the buyers, of forests can't use the tax advantage of that until they actually harvest that forest. So there's a disparity in the price that buyers are prepared to offer to what the value of the forests, and this makes forestry a less fluid investment, and it's a big discouragement for amalgamation and cooperation in forestry. The profitability of small-scale forestry is quite varied, and we have a project running this year under the control of Graham West, which is surveying small-scale growers to get information on their returns and the costs of harvesting to try and identify where the main factors are that are affecting the net returns that they're getting from their harvests. And this if we can get enough information in this project, the information will be quite valuable in working out what ways we can improve the profitability of small-scale forestry. The committee also provides a forum for farm forestry members to engage with the forest owners and the levy board, and I think it's important to have a two-way conversation, to pass on the small growers' concerns and to have the views of the board and the secretariat as well. So it's an important forum as far as that goes. In some cases, research may have been done, or the information from research has not been dispersed out to small growers. And so it's important to have those SCION reps and the MPI people there to be able to provide that two-way dialogue and to ensure that the results from this research is getting out to the small growers and identify the best ways to get it out there. We've got a couple of projects up for funding for 2019. One of those is to run a pilot small-scale forest aggregation system in the lower North Island. As you're probably aware, there's in Europe and Scandinavia in particular, there's a lot of forestry co-ops over there which are very successful and long-lasting. And one of the problems with small-scale growers is that because they don't have relationships with harvesters or forestry people with forestry skills, so they are at a disadvantage. But if they amalgamate together in co-ops, a lot of the problems or disadvantages of small-scale growers can be overcome. And so this project would lay the platform for setting up that scheme in New Zealand. And another one that's up this year is engaging harvesting experts and innovators to rationalise and develop research proposals for improving all aspects of small-scale harvest, and perhaps come up with some ideas for future research in that way. So small-scale growers they're quite a varied lot, vary from farmers with trees to investors, but they are a bit different to the corporate foresters. The photo that you see on the screen is that's actually taken from my house, and you can see there that there's this was taken in January when we were harvesting, and from our deck we could watch that harvest there. So we tend to live amongst our forests. Some of us have planted them and tended them and seen them right through the rotations, and we like trying other species, experimenting a bit. We don't have shareholders or accountants looking over our shoulders saying, what the hell are you spending that money on those trees for? So yes, we are tree huggers, but as Dennis Hawkins says, we're tree huggers with chainsaws. We like trees, we like all the provisions that they provide, but we also like cutting them down and making money from them. So I think going forward, this committee has got an important role to play, and in taking care of issues that are not covered by the other committees in the levy system. Thank you.